I just want to say, it's happening again. I don't know where you are in the world, but in Canada, anyone who tells you that it's always freezing in Canada is dead wrong. Let me break down how every day goes. The Earth cycles through the seasons every day here. You wake up in the spring, and it's kind of reasonable temperature, kind of nice, kind of, the sun's out and stuff like that. Flowers blooming all over the place. Then along comes summer, and it's a death wave of heat, and you can barely survive 5 minutes out there. All the flowers burn out and die, and you begin to wonder if the Earth's fallen out of orbit towards the sun, and the news reporters are just hiding it from you. Then comes the evening, and we enter fall, and the clouds are over, and it's a lot cooler than in the morning, but at least it's cooler. And then at night, it's just like you're freezing your butt off and everything. You're surprised that it's not snowing, and you begin to wonder if the Earth's fallen out of orbit away from the sun, and the news reporters that can't define this.
Today, my friends, or should I say subscribers, we go back to a time before we had the internet, back to a time before our phones could fit inside our pockets, back to a time before all that we had to do was tap a card onto a weird piece of metal and it would automatically pay for the bus, but it doesn't work in Quebec. So had these things before we had that, before we had Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and iTunes, before we had this thing that no one on earth can live without, back when before this card ran out of money. Of course, I am talking about the Celestial Toymaker. I wonder how long. Wait, hang on. Let's begin. Now, before I do anything, I made a promise that I would give a shout out to Drew Spicer. Caption up here, Drew Spicer, leave a comment down below, and you can pin it. Go check his channel out. He does Doctor Who videos. He also does other videos too, mainly those about fidget spinners. I don't know why people care about fidget spinners. Not be like a force truly evil, but still, I'm sorry. If I were to be honest, I don't know. Anyway, the Celestial Toymaker. I have been waiting for this review for a long time because I really like this story. And don't let in my opinion, influence yours. I know that there's a lot of people who really hate this story. And I think it's mainly because that the first 3 episodes are missing from this 4-parter, which sucks because this is a very visual story, aka you really need to be able to see the movement in order to understand, because, like, I'll get to it in a bit, but, like, in episode 1, there's a scene where there's an obstacle course, and it's supposed to be like everyone's moving all over the place, but all they have is this still picture of them, like... As you can see, the case is very detailed. You can see all the different kinds of colors and cool, wacky characters on the thing. Look at that. Okay, anyway, getting... There we go. Check out the disc. And looks nice and clean to me. That's a little loud.
Okay, here we go this time. Oh my god! Guys, that's Steven! That's really the companion Steven, the actor who played him. That's him! Oh, cool.
You guys wonder what these guys talk about in their intros? It's basically just stuff about the story and, you know, for example, Steven, well, Peter is his real name, but I like to call him Steve, because, you know, I know him as Steven. Anyway, Steven says that this was actually supposed to be the first regeneration story. In a parallel universe, like a few hundred parallel universes over to the right, there are universes where this is the regeneration story. Because the plan was the Celestial Toymaker would change the Doctor's appearance as a prank, and then by the end of the episode they wouldn't be able to change him back because William Hartnell was getting ill and starting to become unable to play the role. However, then the BBC renewed his contract and he could play for another 5 stories. We have 5 well, 6 if we include this one, but so like after this one we have 5 stories left with this Doctor, and then we're moving on to the second Doctor. Also, there's a thing where, like, there's a guy in episode 4 who's leading the game for that Steven and Dodo have to play. He also played a popular character in another kid's show, and he referenced it. The BBC said specifically in rehearsals, he wanted to reference that. He wanted to say, like, oh, I had a friend once who was named this, and that would be a character in his other TV show that the actor plays, but the BBC said, no, we don't want to tie those 2 TV shows together, we just want Doctor Who to be by itself, so don't do that. So in rehearsals, he didn't do that. But when they were filming, back in the 60s, there were no such things as bloopers. You had 1 shot to film this for some reason. So like, if one character fumbled a line or forgot their line, it was up to the other characters to figure out how to get past that, because you had 1 shot to film this. It's not like now when you can just film things over and over and over again, delete what you want, or take the scraps and turn it into a funny bloopers video. But, yeah, so when they were filming it, he did say it. And then the BBC were like, they couldn't do anything now, because if they interrupted it, then that's their one time. They'd have to extract that entire scene out of the whole show. But, yeah, pretty much anything that's said here you can probably find on the wiki. If you just type in the Celestial Toymaker Doctor Who wiki and then find that TARDIS data core thing, then you'll probably find it.
The malignant influence of the Toymaker was still manifesting itself. Now, there are no known telesnaps or off-screen photographs of the Celestial Toymaker in existence. So consequently, this reconstruction has been made using previously unpublished on-set photographs and publicity material. So why not sit back now and enjoy this loose cannon reconstruction of the Celestial Toymaker.
Thanks, Steven, or Peter, or whatever your name is. Okay, let's jump right into it, I guess.
You just didn't even give me a time to say anything and just say sit back, but anyway, I guess here we go then. Reconstruction starts with a bit of movement as Loose Cannon took the end of the last story, the Ark, and popped it in front here. Because the Celestial Toymaker, of course, picks up where the Ark left off, where the Doctor mysteriously had gone invisible and claims that some form of attack. What was interesting is that in the audiobook of my iPod, Steven actually like was the narrator in the audiobook, but what was interesting was that he gave like a full like 1-minute summary of the Ark before moving on to the Celestial Toymaker. That's just odd. Maybe they planned to make an audiobook of every single story but the Ark? I don't know. The audiobook is very helpful because, as I said before, this is a very visual story, and as Steven said, no actual pictures exist of this story. So all the fake pictures here are like sometimes the characters taken from the other episodes and then just kind of using Photoshop, but most of them are just like things that were taken like behind the scenes pictures. So like it's very hard to understand what is going on. And I understand why many people have a hard time getting through this. But the audiobook really helps with this, because it says like there's the TARDIS lands in an octagonal room or hexagonal room.
So the mysterious Toymaker finds 2 toy clowns and claims that they'd be able to show Steven and Dodo a few tricks, as the Doctor is always good at games. And I am interested to see what the clowns would look like as they actually grew to human size, because with the reconstruction, this is the best that we've got. Oh well. Could be better, I suppose. Could be worse, I suppose. So yes, the Doctor is magically visible again, but he claims that he still doesn't think that it's the fault of the refusions, because the refusions weren't intangible, only invisible. But then they also find a screen that appears to show pictures of Stephen's past adventures in the TARDIS, and also shows pictures of Dodo the day that her mother died.
Come here, child. Now, whatever you do, you must not allow yourself to be captured looking at it.
Who's the Celestial Toymaker?
The power for evil manipulates people and makes them into his playthings. Whatever you do, neither of you must look at that screen. It's a trap.
Oh, now we got this guy.
They like my memory when out of the world.
Is it the Celestial Toymaker?
Celestial Toymaker.
I am interested though, because what clip is this actually from? I don't recall this clip actually being played.
It's me, the day my mother died.
Yeah, I'm talking about in real life, Dodo.
So the Celestial Toymaker makes the TARDIS disappear, and then he makes himself and the Doctor disappear, and then he makes a weird obstacle course, and the two clowns appear, a sad clown and a happy clown, and they play a prank on Steven, and Dodo laughs in his face, but thankfully Steven manages to get his revenge, because then they pull a prank on Dodo, and Steven gets a chance to laugh.
Oh, thanks. No one's ever given me flowers before.
You can just see your face.
I'm not sure that I like these flowers.
Sad clown actually couldn't talk, he could only honk his nose. I didn't actually know that the first few times I watched it. It took me several watchings of this episode, and I did watch this episode several times because I really like this story. But as it turns out, the Celestial Toymaker has trapped the Doctor to play a Trilogic Game, and he needs to make it in 1,024 moves, and Steven and Dodo need to play several games, and against the Celestial Toymaker's creations, and at the end of each game, if Steven and Dodo lose, that they become toys forever. If they win, they'll get a TARDIS, which may be fake or not, and then if it's fake, they go to another game, and they must complete all their games before the Doctor completes his game, and the Doctor can't slow down his game, or the Celestial Toymaker will speed it up. Everyone got that? Great. So you may be wondering, what game does Steven and Dodo have to play first? Well, the answer to that is simple.
What? Did you hear that? That's what they're playing. Line ba ba. If anyone can figure out what she was saying there, you are a genius.
Actually some sort of obstacle course, but I'll get to that later. First I want to go over the game that the Doctor is playing. So there are 3 spots, and there's like a pyramid of pieces. Like there's a giant triangle, which is number 10, and then a slightly smaller triangle, which is number 9, slightly smaller, slightly smaller, slightly smaller, all the way to the top. Hang on.
Okay, first off, there's supposed to be a number 1 at the top that finishes the pyramid, but the picture didn't have that, so nothing that Loose Can't could really do about that, except extra work in Photoshop. But anyway, so let me just go over the rules real quick.
I am only allowed to move 1 piece at a time. That is right. And you must rearrange them in the same order that they are now on point C. And I am not permitted to put a larger piece on the floor. Correct. And you have 1,023 moves to do it in. That is the exact amount. If you make one mistake, you lose.
Wait, hang on, no, wait, what?
Right, so here's what the game is, okay? Okay, pretend that this is the pyramid of pieces, right? This is 10 at the bottom, that's 1 finishing the pyramid off at the top. They're all in point A right now. The Doctor needs to take pieces from the pyramid, and then they can move to point C or point B or whatever. But he's only allowed to move 1 piece at a time, and then he can't put a larger piece on top of a smaller piece. But what he needs to do is eventually rearrange the pyramid so that it looks exactly like a pyramid again, but on this one. How is that going to work though? You can take the first one off and put it onto B or C, and then you can take the second one off and put it onto the one that you haven't put it on yet, because you can't put number 2 onto number 1, because that would be putting a bigger piece on top of a smaller piece. But now what do you do? I mean, I guess you could take the first piece, wherever it is, and put it on top of block 3, but then what? How are you ever going to have an opportunity to move block 3? You're going to be, like, how?
Like you could take the first piece and put it on B, and then the second piece and put it on C, the first piece and put it on A, maybe move the second piece, put it on B, first place put it on C. You're just going to end up on a wild goose chase of moving the first and second pieces around. How are you ever going to move the rest of the pyramid? This is like the one thing that bothers me. If anyone knows exactly what I'm missing, please tell me, because this has been bothering me for a while.
Who are the others? Two clown friends of mine. They are the home team. They will play against your friends and win the quest. Quest. What quest? The hunt for the TARDIS.
What's the point of that spooky music? You've said like 50 times.
And you get it back.
Yeah, you said that like 50 times, that this whole thing is to get the TARDIS. Why are you playing the spooky music now? Back to what I was saying about Steven and Dodo's game, they're playing some sort of obstacle course, which is impossible to tell what the heck is going on with this reconstruction, because you just have still photos of people like just standing in the obstacle course and you have no idea what's going on. In the audiobook, we have a much better description of what goes on. There are 5 obstacles. The first one is swinging on this rope from one end to the other, and you must land on a stepping stone at the end, otherwise you lose. And then you must hop across 5 stepping stones until you get to these stairs, climb the stairs, walk a plank, carefully lower yourself, and then crawl through a tube to the end. If the clowns lose, Steven and Dodo get a TARDIS that may or may not be a real one, or it may or may not be leading to another game. If Steven and Dodo lose, they become toys forever, and if they both lose, then they keep on playing it over and over again until someone does lose. The Doctor tries to constantly warn Steven and Dodo of what's going on, and the Toymaker gets tired of the Doctor almost giving the surprises away, so then he makes the Doctor invisible and intangible again. But of course that means that the Doctor can't exactly move the pieces around if he just goes through stuff. So the Toymaker leaves him one hand. But the Doctor keeps on interfering, so then the Toymaker takes away his voice as well. And this is actually done because William Hartnell needed to take a few vacations days off for episodes 2 and 3. So they made that whole thing so that they could just have another guy come in and play the Doctor's hand for a bit. When I told my dad that, he kind of burst out laughing. Hello, I am the Doctor's hand. I'm grabbing pieces. I'm moving them over there. Anyway, after Steven and Dodo having the clowns constantly cheat over and over and over again, Steven and Dodo prove that you should never try to out-cheat a cheater. And sometimes, even when you're playing against people who are cheating, playing by the rules will get you the win at the end. But anyway, so they find a TARDIS, and surprise, surprise, it's not the real TARDIS. And then they get another riddle.
What's that? 4 legs, no feet. Of arms, no life. It carries no burden on its back. 6 deadly sisters, 7 for choice. Call the service without voice.
I like this, how at the end, I doubt this is what happened in the actual episode, but the reconstruction had a whole bunch of like 30 seconds of nothing, so then they just put the riddle in at the end, but like it just suddenly appears and then rolls off like the rest of the credits. The second game they have to play is a deadly version of musical chairs, which meant 4 legs, no feet, of arms, no leg, carries no burden on its back, is describing a chair. And then 6 Deadly Sisters, 7 for choice meant that they would be stuck with 7 of these chairs, and 6 of them would kill them, and only 1 is safe. And now they're up against playing cards, which are just people dressed up as kings and queens, and they have to play a game, and the first person to sit in the right chair wins. But of course, like, if they sit in the wrong chair, then they die, so. If anyone can watch episode 2 of the Celestial Toymaker and figure out what's going on half the time, you're also a genius, because it's like, there's 4 chairs in one room and 3 chairs in another room, and then there's a certain amount of dolls, and Steven and Dodo have some dolls, and the playing cards have the other dolls, and then we also have the Joker and the Prince who exist for some reason, and they're just throwing the dolls in different chairs. Not to mention the chairs, the 6 chairs that kill people, they kill people by electrocution. Vibrating people to death, I guess. Just brutally slicing them in half. Just having their heads shaken off, I guess. Just vanishing out of existence. I wonder what that would feel like. And freezing them to death very slowly. And collapsing. Wait a minute, that... How many deaths is that? 6 Deadly Sisters, 7 for choice. I thought that was 7. Well, whatever. And on top of that, Dodo's being an idiot. Again, like, giving away Steven and her secret plan to everyone else and being like, oh, they seem like nice people. But eventually, Steven sits in the right chair, making the TARDIS appear. Guess what? It's still not the right TARDIS, and the Doctor's inching closer to the end of his game. I know this is probably a very dangerous thing to try, but I would be interested, like, if you sat in the freezing chair and then, like, tried to set yourself on fire. But, like, what would kill you?
Or would you just be normal and they would like cancel each other out?
And the calling servants without voice meant that there were these weird dolls, the remaining dolls that are still somehow alive or something, get up and start chasing them to the next game or something like that. That was a lot of depending on the Celestial Toymaker's move. But anyway, now we got another riddle. Joker. I'm Batman. The third game follows that riddle: hunt the key to fit the door that leads out on the dancing floor, then escape the rhythmic beat, or you will tap your feet. Forever will tap your feet. Hunt the key to fit the door means that this puzzle is kind of split into two. They spend the first half of the episode in a kitchen trying to find a key that could be anywhere in the kitchen, but there's also two people in there who fight a lot and become kind of reckless and stuff like that. Eventually they do find the key, which opens a door that leads down to a dancing floor. And the thing is that once you step on the dancing floor, you'll dance non-stop, and there's no way around it or beneath it or anything like that, and the TARDIS is on the other side of the dancing floor. So Steven and Dodo have to find another way. But there's like a 1 minute, 30-second scene or something like that where we're supposed to see the dolls like dancing around and stuff like that. This is literally what we see in the reconstruction. Wow. Quite the movement going on. I can totally see their amazing dance moves. I'm not making fun of you, Loose Cannon, by the way. It's just like, wow. Look at the amazing movement that we can see. Who's this guy? Who's this guy in the corner here? That's sexist. And we finally reach episode 4, which is moving, but the quality in this is kind of bad compared to a little friend of mine. So their fourth game is TARDIS Hopscotch. Pretty straightforward. You roll the dice, follow the rules, hop from triangle to triangle, first one to get home wins. Although occasionally it'll say go back a few spaces or go ahead a few spaces or miss a turn or stuff like that. You know, the classic game.
Well, there you are. You just jump from triangle to triangle, the first one home wins. You can walk if you like, but I shouldn't if I were you. The area between the triangles is electric. You'll be killed.
Why would you give that away, you idiot?
Ladies first, if you don't mind.
That's sexist. And the actor who plays Cyril makes the biggest fumble of a line I've heard.
Hey, that's red ink!
Of course it is. You're so easy to fool, you are. And go back to the start for getting out of your triangle.
Then you can go back to the start for getting out of your triangle. One thing that confuses me though is what happens if one of them accidentally drops their dice in the electrocution? I guess they just stay there forever. But also, Steven has a perfect opportunity to just jump to the starting point from here. Why does he have to go around? There's a clear jumping space that we saw earlier between square number 2, 3, 4, 5 and the first one. He can just jump across.
What's that mean? You go back a turn.
You go back a turn? That means that you should return to where you are. There's a difference between missing a turn and going back a turn.
I told you before about these idiotic jokes. She nearly fell off. It's all part of the game, old chap. Now you can go back to the start. Cheating. He moved out of his triangle, it wasn't his turn, and I've landed on your
Yeah, but
triangle.
you just moved out of your triangle, didn't you, to get to Dodo's square? You weren't in that triangle before.
We'll never see him again, will we, Doctor?
Don't talk too soon.
No, Dodo's right, you'll never see him again.
The mind is indestructible.
What do you mean the mind is indestructible? What if I shoot your mind in the head? That's kind of destructible. This is actually the last that we'll see out of Lost in Time, because that's all that has on it. It has episodes 1 and 3, The Crusades, the audio, episodes 2 and 4, episodes 2, 5, and 10 of the Daleks Master Plan, and episode 4 of the Celestial Toymaker. So, Celestial Toymaker pulls a pretty cool trick on the Doctor, Steven, and Dodo, thereby trapping them there. But the Doctor manages to outsmart the Toymaker and escape. If you want to figure out exactly what they both did, then watch the story for yourself. Or just watch episode 4, whatever you want. Dodo then takes out some candy that Cyril gave to them, and Steven says, like, get rid of them, they're probably, like, poisonous or something. And then the Doctor says, no, it's probably fine, last present from the Toymaker. He inserts it into his mouth, and then he collapses, assuming the poison. Even episode 4, though, didn't entirely make it surviving. The last little bit is missing, where it shows, like, the next episode caption. Even that is missing, just like episodes 1, 2, and 3 are. Anyway, that's it for the Celestial Toymaker. I really like this story. So, I recommend it. Yes. This is like The Massacre, though. You tend to either really like it or you really hate it. I fell into the category that really hated the massacre, but I fell into the category that really liked the Celestial Toymaker. So yeah, go check it out, give it a shot. Yeah, so, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like so I know you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, please leave a dislike so I know you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below if you like to tell me why, because it feels awesome to get some motivation and encouragement. And if you didn't like it, please leave a comment down below saying why you didn't like it, so that I can improve for next time. Otherwise, I won't be able to improve and just going to treat your dislike as if it were like. And subscribe so that I know when my next video comes out. Thanks, everyone, for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And don't forget to check out Drew Spicer's channel. Drew Spicer, if you leave a comment, I'll pin it, and then, yeah. Okay, bye. I actually forgot that I said this. I didn't realize that until I was editing, so then I came back up to film this. I'll see you next time where I review story number 25, The Gunfighters. I just ran up here to film this scene. Alright, bye. For real this time, I think.